I call this meeting to order for Tuesday, April 11th, 2023. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Susan Payne,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Dusty Wright,
Here.
Commissioner Sharon McDonald,
Here.
Commissioner Josh Reardon,
Here.
Commissioner Stephen Burnett,
Here.
Commissioner Carl Melton,
Here.
Commissioner Nick Paul,
Here.
Assistant City Manager Hernandez,
Here.
City Attorney Ashley Smith,
Here.
the Deputy Clerk is present. Madam Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Dylan. Welcome back, Rachel, and congratulations. Rachel's a grandmother again. Congratulations, Rachel. We are going to start with the approval of the agenda. Does somebody have a motion to approve the agenda? Oh, I knew I was going to mess something up. Sorry, it's been a long day. I apologize. We're going to start with the pledge and invocation. The invocation will be given by me, and the pledge will be given by Commissioner Paul. And again, I apologize for that. It really has been a long day. If you'll join me in prayer, we need it. Lord Jesus, thank you so much for this day, Lord. Lord, it really has been a long day, but Lord, I just thank you that in times of stress and times of trouble and good times and bad times, Lord, that we know we can always count on you, Lord. You are our source of guidance, Lord. You know our hearts, you know our thoughts, Lord, even before we say anything. You know, you wrote the end before you wrote the beginning, so you know the outcome for everything. And we thank you for that, Lord. We thank you for this night, Lord, that we can come and do your business. Lord, we thank you for everybody that is here. We thank you for this city, Lord. I lift up this city. I lift up each and every citizen in our city, Lord. I ask you to pour out your blessings on each and every one of them, Lord. Pour out your blessings on this city, Lord. And as we enter into the business of the city tonight, Lord, give us open minds, open hearts, ears to hear, Lord. We ask you to lead us, guide us, direct us, protect us in all that we do and all that we say in Jesus' name. Amen.
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
I have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Wright. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A second from Commissioner Melton. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries 7-0. We're going to start tonight with a presentation. April is month of the military child, and we have a family here. And it's Lorianne, I knew that. Like, yes, Lorianne. And then, of course, Colonel Peterson, welcome to our commission meeting. Thank you for coming tonight. If you guys want to come up here and join me, and then, of course, Shelley Bailey from Palm Air Force Base, we're going to do it right now. Whatever you want to do. You'd rather have us over there? Okay, yeah, we can do that. And this is is it Reed? The Reed family? Dual military, huh? How cool is that? Are you guys proud of your parents? Yeah, I know they're proud of you, but you should be proud of them too, because they are serving our country. And we are honored to have you here tonight to represent the military. This month is Month of the Military Child. I know in my family we come from a long line of military, Air Force, and Army as well. And our son-in-law is actually stationed at Fort Bliss. He's serving in the Army now. So super proud of them, and very honored to have you all here tonight. Colonel Peterson, thank you for joining us. I do have a proclamation I'd like to read. Whereas April marks the nation's Month of the Military Child, a time to honor youth impacted by deployment, and whereas the Month of the Military Child provides an opportunity to pay tribute to New Mexico's military children, as well as those assigned here from other states, and honor their sacrifices, Purple Act for Military Kids Day in Alamogordo and urge all citizens to wear purple in its observance. And thank you again for being here. You guys can clap. He's gonna make me look even shorter than I am. Oh, stand on the other side. Oh, perfect. Then we'll work. Here, you wanna hold that? You wanna hold that? But you gotta put it down so we can see your face, okay? Okay, there you go.
But I'm not a professional. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Bye. Doesn't she have the cutest little messy mouth? I'm telling you. Thank you for being here. It's a pleasure to have you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Bye, guys. Gals. Bye, gals. Shall we look? Okay. Next, we have public comment. I do not have anybody signed up. No, okay. Just want to make sure. And we will move on to the Assistant City Manager's report.
I only have one thing. Belinda Bass, stand up. Our new Parks and Rec Director. I don't think anybody's had a chance to meet her, so I just wanted to officially introduce Belinda Bass.
Thank you. Welcome to the city. All right. And we have remarks and inquiries by the City Commission. Does anybody have anything? Commissioner McDonald.
I just wanted to report that I was able to go to Bonita Lake on last week to view the facilities. And I met David Nunley, Aaron Foster, and I think Joe? No? Okay. Well, anyway, he's going to be Joe to me tonight. We toured the Bonita Lake facilities, and right now, it's a beautiful time of the year, so it was a beautiful sight, and the lake was full. So when I was going through the areas where I guess the water flows either into Alamogordo or it's what is that water that they use just to water the parks?
The affluent water.
So we got a chance to see that and how the standards that are being presented at the city for the utilities are being labeled, so it's going to be standard at all of the facilities. I learned what a vault was. I thought a vault was inside the wall, but it was down in the ground. And I saw the overflow from the lake, and we have a couple of really nice waterfalls at this time of the year. So I just wanted to say that the Utilities Department, that is really a beautiful job that they've done. There's new fences up there to provide security so people are not just wandering in there. And like I said, when we did a tour of the area and even went where the park is, even though we couldn't go on the grounds, it is just beautiful all around. And even though there are trees down, I guess nature has a way of making their fallen trees overgrowth look beautiful. But I just wanted to say to the city, that was really a nice job done, all the work and the money that has gone into it. I would describe a little bit more, but it was a lot of money spent up there, and right now you can see it was a job well done. On April the 8th, which was this past Saturday, went to Dudley School. We had a cleanup day there. And it's nice to know that we are having a couple of things done on the inside, so we're working on the outside now. You know, pulling the weeds and getting some of the shrubs out of the way, and some of the trees that are, you know, losing some limbs, we were able to get those out. But right now, they have a crew in there for the plumbing and the electrical, and then the wall is going to be the next item that will be worked on. The bin out there for the trash is completely fill because we were inside clearing some of the, I guess, the insulation that has fallen from, just being up there for the wiring. So we were able to get some of that done. But it's still on target for that project to be done probably by midsummer. So the final item that I wanted to mention is on July 15th, District 5 has done a cleanup, and we've lined up with the City of Commerce, the Center of Commerce, and we are going to have our cleanup on Saturday, July 15th, from 7 o'clock to 12 in the afternoon. And so we will be done probably more around 11, but we're going to stay out there until 12. So people who are coming to dump off trash, any type of, like we got washers and dryers, and we've got some really big items. So we'll be out there until 12 o'clock to take that. Unfortunately, this year, Total Destruction is no longer in business. They have sold it to a company in El Paso, and we will not have the shredding because the price has really shot up. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Anybody else?
something.
Yes, Commissioner Burnett.
The Flickinger Center they want to know about their handicap sign. You can no longer see it. They want to know if it's their duty or is it our duty to change the sign.
I have no idea.
I'm not sure, but I'll check into it and let you know tomorrow.
Okay, and also the homeless people, they caught a guy in the trash can sleeping. So
At the Flickinger?
at the Flickinger. The house behind them, they have an abundance of people living in that burnt down house.
I do think maybe at some point we need to, and it's something, of course, I brought up before, but I do think that at some point we need to probably take a pretty critical look at that issue, because it is becoming, I'm looking at my secretary out here who's actually on our Charter Review Committee, and we, meaning Love Inc., we receive maybe between 7 and 10 calls a day from people that are homeless. And I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that. It is, oh my God.
I don't think these people
It
are
is a-
homeless, but I mean,
Yeah,
they're
but it
driving.
is a huge issue. It is, and it's something that, if we're getting calls from people, imagine the calls that that we're not getting, or imagine the people we're not getting calls from. So I do think that at some point, we probably need to.
Their only
Consider
concern
that.
is the kids are practicing right now for the Lion King, so it's,
Yes, they are, yes. So, but I guess that's another story for another day. So, I don't disagree with you.
That's all I
Anyway,
have.
okay. Does anybody else have anything? Okay. Well, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Does anybody have anything they want removed from the consent agenda? No? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion from Commissioner McDonald, do I have a second?
I'll second.
A second from Mayor Pro Tem Wright. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Carl Melton,
Aye.
Nick Paul,
Aye.
Stephen Burnett,
Aye.
Josh Reardon,
Aye.
Sharon McDonald,
Aye.
Dusty Wright,
Aye.
Susan Payne.
Aye. Motion passes 7-0. We're going to move on to new business. Item 8, consider and act upon a golf course fee update and grant. Did I see you? There you are. You want to come up?
Grant Alps, G&L Golf President, General Manager at Desert Lakes.
How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good. It's always good to see you.
Good to see you guys and girls. So it's, I guess I assume that's been submitted to you? The fee structure? Okay.
Yes.
So it's, as the letter says, we've done this or I've done this personally for 30 years. I kind of know where we're at in the market. Things are tight in the golf market, but we are right now probably on the lower end of the market. And I believe that with the raise that we have, it's a very good deal. We'll stay within the bounds of where we need to stay so we're competitive. We did raise 2 items a little bit more than normal. Carts, we found that, because we do a survey with this at least every other year, that we raise rates, and we were low on the green fees. It's hard to judge annual passes because very few other golf courses have annual passes like us. We're unique in that category. Some of the municipals do, but they're either extremely low or extremely high. So we're the ones that kind of hit the market, and that's the majority of what this town is about, what draws those people in is those annual passes. But green fees are going up minimal, but the military and COA rate is going to go up a little bit more than the rest of them, and that's because it's already a very low rate. And we found that the play from the military has extremely exploded as Dusty, and I'm sure Stephen would understand that there's a lot of play out there from the military, which is great, and going up of 50 cents or 75 cents, I don't think they'll even bat an eye at it. So we just ask that you approve it.
Okay, does anybody have any questions? No? Do I have a motion to approve item 8?
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Wright. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A second from Commissioner Burnett. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And motion passes 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you, and we've got 2 golfers on the commission. It would be nice to see 7. I'll give you free lessons.
I hold golf tournaments. I hold golf tournaments. Does that count?
Kind of, but actually trying to get out there and try it, you'd enjoy it more than you think.
I drive the cart. No? Okay. Someday in my spare time, I'll come and learn that. How's that? All right. We're going to move on to item 9. Consider and act upon the proposed recommendations by the City Charter Committee. And Ben Luna? Come on down. No? Is that like an old thing or what?
Thank you all for allowing us to be a part of this. I guess it's been a while since it's been done. It was definitely a team effort for all of it. So have you guys received this version? It has like a highlighted new material and then deleted, crossed out? Yep, okay. So I don't think we need to go over anything other than the changes. Are you guys good with that? Yeah, okay. All right, so, yeah, what we did is we either made it resemble state statutes, or we made it more strict and less broad. So I'm just gonna kind of start at Article 5, Section 1, candidate at large.
Do you guys want him to go over each one of these, or?
There's not very many.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
only like 5 or 6.
So each one of the edits, edited? Okay. So Article 5, Section 1, candidate at large. Candidate at large must reside within the city for 12 months prior to candidacy. So we added that, the highlighted portion. Section 2, candidates for district offices must reside in the district they seek to represent for 12 months prior to candidacy. And we added that.
Got a question on that.
Yep.
I think we used to have something like that in our charter before, and we had to remove it for some reason, and I don't remember why. We had like a certain time frame.
Right.
and this may be an
Because a
attorney.
former city attorney suggested that it was unconstitutional.
It wasn't, it was something to do with state law, but I think it was 90 days before is what it used to be.
And I did look into that because I was informed that a previous attorney had some kind of issues with that. So I did look in to the state statutes and, you know, the constitutionality of that issue, and I did not see where
Okay,
there really isn't a constitutional issue. We're well within our grounds to do it.
to do that, okay.
Yes.
Because I remember, I think it was either 60 or 90 days prior to the election is what it used to read, and then we had to remove it for some reason, so.
That is correct, and, because I did look into that issue,
Okay.
and I, you know,
Okay, just want to make sure, because,
I don't know where that issue came, like, where that person was seeing it, but
I don't
from
remember.
reviewing the state statutes and everything as they are currently, I don't see there's really no legal issue of us adding that in.
okay.
Okay, so moving forward to Article 6, elections, Section 2, elections. And this is, we pretty much crossed out all of B. You can see that. And so I'm going to go ahead and read Section 2, A. In the regular city election for the mayor at large and commissioners, the candidate receiving the greatest number of votes in each district represented is elected. And so she asked the county clerk, I believe, and there was only three cities that did a runoff, and that was Bernalillo, Albuquerque, and Santa Fe. And the cost of a runoff election is about $15,000 to $20,000. So in the bigger cities, they can afford it, and they need it. They have multiple candidates running for the same position. So we just kind of took that out. It wasn't really needed. And she also said that Otero County has never had a runoff election, so, and that was coming from our county clerk, right? Correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm waiting until you get to B. I have a question.
Okay, sure thing. And so B says, if a tie exists after the certification of the results of any election, the determination as to which of the tied candidates is elected shall be decided by lot. And so we did get the definition of what that means to have it decided by lot. One second. Let's see. One second. Okay, so, let's see, it says, the county clerk determines, and this is within our minutes, I believe, the county clerk determines what the lot is, like rolling a die, drawing the biggest stick, et cetera, et cetera. So that section should stay in case of a tie. Vice Chairman Wright said we would leave, oh, okay, omit that. But that's kind of the definition we got for the lot.
We draw straws.
Not necessarily draw straws, but they're, let's see, I believe it's the county clerk.
Yes, if I may, yes, that's correct. So the county clerk would be the one to say how they're going to cast that lot. So it could be rolling the dice if there's a tie. It could be drawing the biggest stick. It could be by numbers. The county clerk would determine what that lot would be.
Bingo, maybe. But yeah, any questions on that? Sorry, that's what we got told.
I would be shocked if there was ever a tie, but I suppose it could happen.
It's been close.
Yeah, no, I know it's been close, but
7 votes?
Sharon, do you have any question?
No,
Did that
I-
answer?
I just wanted the definition of a lot.
Okay, good deal. All right, so we'll move forward to Article 7. And this is Section 3. And so the parts we deleted is due to only applying to past dates and past terms. And the wording we added, which is highlighted, that allows it to work for all future elections and terms. And so I'll go ahead and read that real quickly. The term of office for all commissioners, including the mayor, shall be 4 years. Election shall be held on a staggered basis on the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November of each odd number year. So does that make sense on that portion? Okay.
A quick question on that one. Did you guys maybe look into term limits
Term
for that
limits?
section? I vaguely remember in the past, but there again, it was an attorney in the past stated that it wasn't legal for us to have term limits on these offices because of the fact, I guess, because we're nonpartisan. But I just didn't know if that's something we might want to look at.
I think the only limit we found was that within the state statute, it should be every 4 years for your positions. Do you have any info on that?
I don't recall, or if they looked into it, it was one that I wasn't available for. I know I personally did not look into that issue. Obviously, I can definitely look into that for by the next meeting.
So that's kind of the purpose of this. We're going to go over y'all's changes, and then if we had anything we wanted to add or have you guys look at additional, we can have you go back to another meeting and look at it.
Yeah,
and then come
no,
back to
definitely.
us.
Yeah, and is that something, I guess, you guys are wanting as far as?
I was just asking the question. I don't know how everybody else feels. I personally believe in term limits, but
Right.
I don't know.
I totally believe in term limits.
You know, in our offices, it's kind of rough because it's hard to find people that even want to take these seats. But, you know, we don't want to limit it too much. But there again, I think 8 years in office is plenty, and then you can take a break, or maybe 12 years. But I vaguely remember in the past, but like I say, it was with the other attorney that we had just mentioned, stated that it wasn't legal for us to put a term limit on our offices, so.
Okay, we
If
could
we could-
definitely,
If we could research that and one way or the other, give us an answer one way or the other, so.
yeah.
I will look into that and have a better answer
'Cause
by the next meeting.
The county has term limits, right?
Yes, but they're
They're
a
partisan.
partisan
No, I
election.
know, that's, yeah, no, I get that.
But like the state representatives don't have, and the senators don't have term limits, but county commission, sheriff, you know,
Yeah.
your assessor's office, any of those positions have limits on.
I wouldn't mind looking into it just out of curiosity,
Yeah.
just because I'm curious to see what the difference is. I could understand the partisan part if it weren't for the state representatives and the senators,
That's true,
and of course, that would follow, I guess, national,
yeah. Well,
or
see, like
I'm sorry, United States, like Congress,
Congress doesn't have them, but the
Right,
president does.
but the
and-
president does, yeah. So
So-
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
If you could just look, just out of curiosity.
Definitely will.
Okay. So, moving forward, I think that's all for that section. We're going to jump all the way to Article 10, and that's going to be Section 1, Section 2, and Section 3. Yeah, and pretty much what we did there is we almost did like a copy and paste of the state statute for the ordinance, or the city charter. And so anything you see in there is wording to reflect what the state statute says, rather than having conflicting words. So the no less changed to more than 20%. And then within the 10 days of the expiration of the 30-day period, adopt an election. Yeah, I believe. Can you clarify on that, Margaret? Like, pretty much everything is, Elise?
Can she come up to the podium so we can hear her?
Absolutely.
Hi, everybody. On that one, it was just to clear the wording up, because what we had previously wasn't very clear. Any questions on it that I can?
Thank you. So that's pretty much for Section 1, 2, and 3 of Article 10. Let me double check. Okay, and then next would be Article 12.
I had a question on Section 2.
Sure.
It doesn't look like we changed, you know, we had an issue with a referendum on a resolution at one point, but it doesn't look like we took that out, right? Let me read that again. Because essentially, the issue I had with that is if somebody's allowed to do a referendum on a resolution, if we were to adopt a budget resolution tonight that somebody didn't agree with, they could go in and do a referendum on our budget resolution. A resolution is just like a statement, you know, an ordinance that has some
Right.
teeth, I can understand doing a referendum on it. But a resolution, I don't understand why the public should be able to do a referendum on a resolution.
Is that reflecting a state statute, though? What they're stating, no? Okay.
That may be an attorney question too, we may not be able to pull it out, so.
Yes, it wasn't actually in state statute, so all we did was clear things up.
It was the 60 days part, remember? Because then they could do it every 60 days, right?
So if I remember right, when it happened,
Yeah, but that
whenever
wasn't
that was, 6 months ago or a year ago, you know, we had 3 different sets of rules we were looking at. We were looking at the local election act, we were looking at state law, and then reading our charter. And that's where we came into the issue where we made a lot of people mad because they didn't follow the rules, because we weren't quite which section we were supposed to follow, and all of that good stuff. I don't know if you were here when that happened. That may have been right before you
I
got
think
here.
it was right before, I think I
Yes.
caught the very tail end of that.
Yes,
Yeah, and from what we found, it didn't actually, state statute didn't actually touch on it,
okay.
and we decided not to completely remove it. That way, you could still make your resolution, and if people had an issue, they still could.
Okay.
The wording that's changed in it was just to try to make things clearer on what they needed to do in order to have you pull your
Okay,
resolution.
so we got a process that we have to
Yeah,
follow
just to
now.
make it more of a clear process. That way it was easier handled either way.
Okay.
So how do we reconcile the difference between a budget resolution and some other resolutions so that nobody decides to do a referendum on our budget resolution? How do we distinguish between the two?
Or even our election resolutions.
Or even an election resolution, yeah.
That's where I had the issue with that.
Election.
You know, if it's an ordinance where we could cite you or fine you, I'm all for that. But a budget resolution or an election resolution, if they want to come in, you know, not that they would do that, but they could.
Especially since it, you know, could cost $30,000.
That's exactly correct. You know, if their petition would have been legit, we would have had to do a special election in order to have them pull that back, our resolution back.
Right.
Commissioner Reardon? Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, that's something, that's another thing I've put on my list, I will look into a little bit more to
Okay,
see how we can kind of differentiate that a little bit more.
okay.
So
Yeah,
are you
it's-
asking for the resolution piece to be completely out of it, or are you just asking to differentiate between, like what
Yeah,
happened
I
with
don't think
the?
Like these guys stated, I don't think it needs to be pulled out. I
Okay.
think it needs to be maybe clarified. You know, that's just one of those things, you know, you had somebody that read it and they, oh, we're gonna do a referendum on this when they didn't like a resolution that we did. And, you know, if that makes sense, you know what I mean? Like I say, if it's an ordinance that we pass that they're not happy with, then more power to them, you know, bring it forward, let's do it. But, resolution, I don't think they really should be able to do a referendum on those. Or,
And is the resolution in state statute? Is the referendum on a resolution in state statute?
Mayor, that is actually found in the election code.
Okay,
And so, as far as referendum goes, it does talk about an ordinance and resolution.
does it,
However, like Commissioner Reardon is saying, a resolution is like a non-binding, an ordinance is binding, and so that's the difference.
a resolution's just a statement, you know? It's like the one in question that we're talking about that they did the referendum.
no, yeah, I know, I understand.
It was a
So,
statement.
I guess my question is, when we do a budget resolution, why do we call it a budget resolution? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, and I think, and I'm more asking for everybody else, but if a resolution is just a statement, we're just saying, we passed this budget, we're making a state, like, we're not, do you see what I'm saying? And so maybe we do need some clarification
A
on
little more
that. Yeah.
clarification on that.
Is this only within the election portion of referendums? Because it is kind of, it's talking about that in special elections, so.
A lot of these issues came up when we adopted the Local Election Act. You know, that's what kind of confused everybody when it all happened.
Yeah.
And I know that the committee did look at the election code to try to resolve some of those issues
Right.
that we were having between our city charter and the election code. And so I will look at those again, just to make sure that we aren't having conflicting language. That way, it's a little bit more clear so that, what's in the
Right.
election code is the same thing we have in our city charter. They're not conflicting with each other.
Yeah, and
That
they
way-
couldn't have known that,
Yeah.
that a budget resolution could be a potential I mean, the committee couldn't have really known that. That's just, I don't want to say it's an internal thing.
I'm
Obviously,
not
we do that
saying
publicly.
anybody would actually do that, but if they
Right.
wanted to, they could, you know.
Nothing would surprise me.
You
It's
know.
okay. Okay, all right, I'm sorry. You couldn't.
Oh, no, you're good. No, we need those questions so we can clear this up. So all we have really after that, if you don't have anything for section 2 or section 3, you guys good on the rest? Other than the question?
So they're only allowed to recall me once in a term?
Correct.
Okay. right.
Yeah, because I think before it was like 60 days or something like that.
That's a good point, I guess.
And that's per state statute.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm the only one up here that suffered through a recall election on it, so.
I didn't know you did that.
Oh, yeah. That's a good time. They couldn't get enough signatures, so it never went to
I had no
election.
idea.
And is the 20% number, is that state statute?
Yes.
I
believe
believe
In
so.
which,
it is.
sorry, which section?
This is going back up to referendums, but
Okay.
I take it 20% is also to petition for recall as well.
It's my understanding that's pursuant to I think the referendum section, because they couldn't find anything necessarily with the state statute. That's more from the election code.
So that 20% number is mandated, or we came up with that?
So that 20%, I know, that came from section 1 also mentions 20%, and that was from the state statute.
Okay.
So I think we just followed kind of that to make it uniform. Does that make sense?
Okay. Is that it?
I think so.
Okay. I have a couple of questions.
Sure. It's probably for the attorney.
Yeah, probably. And I asked this question I asked Brian this question, but I don't know that he knew the answer, or I don't think I got a clear answer. I'm just curious, and it's probably something you're going to have to research, and less Commissioner Reardon knows, but why are we a commission and not a council?
So,
Something to do with the
obviously, I
home
wasn't
rule.
here during that time, but I do know, because I was recently looking into, I believe that we had adopted at some point, and I'd have to go through our history, of a commission, city manager style of government that is pursuant to state statute.
And I did look at that, yeah.
So
I
I
just-
think,
I just-
I think that's why we have it that way, is I think we adopted that
Okay.
In most
style of government.
councils,
do-
the mayor is the chief executive. Whereas
to
the
do-
Yes.
commission.
I
the
agree with
mayor
that.
is-
I did look at some municipalities that were actually, I mean, the term is really commission manager, but I did look at some municipalities that actually are councils, and they're still council manager forms of government. So that's why I was curious. I think, if I remember right, Deming might have been one of them.
And,
Las Cruces.
yeah.
Las
when-
Cruces is a city council, and
When the
they
state
also have a city
statute,
manager.
when the state statute said that we could go to a manager's commissioner, mayor commissioner style government, there was also a clause in there that allowed cities to opt out of that type of government. So those municipalities may have done that.
Okay, okay.
Like I said, it has something to do with home rule also, because we're a home rule community.
I
where
thought about
Cruces
that
is
too, but
not.
I couldn't find anything that, I thought maybe it was that. The only reason I'm asking is because our county is a county commission, and I do know that often we get mixed up with the county commission, and I was like, you know, if we were at council, that might not happen. Not that it matters, it's not that big of a deal. I was just curious why,
I do have another.
my MPA stuff is kicking in here, you know, and I'm like, so why are we?
I have another question on that. A lot of the things that the committee brought forward to us is basically just bringing our charter into compliance with state law.
That is correct. That-
And how do we go about that? I mean, there are changes that need to happen, but all of these changes have to go on the ballot. And what happens in the event that the electorate doesn't pass the amendments?
That kind of goes into like a bit of a tricky situation, because, I mean, no matter what, we have to follow state
we
statute,
still have
whether
to.
the, you know, it's actually elected in or not. If it's not, then we're still going to have that conflicting, but state statute's still over top of, you know, the city charter.
Yeah, we still have to follow state law.
I think really what we're just trying to do, and hopefully constituents, you know, or the citizens understand that, is that we're trying to make it so it's not conflicting, so there's no question as to, you know, what do I follow? You know, if it's all the same, then it's easy to follow it.
One of my other questions on that is also in the Local Election Act, the legislature gave us the authority to change the charter by ordinance in order to come into compliance with state law when that all went into effect. Could we maybe take the changes that these guys are that are recommending and us as a commission can do those changes by ordinance? And then the ones that aren't pertaining to the Local Election Act, maybe put those on the ballot as questions?
I would have to look into that a little bit more,
Okay.
because I don't, obviously, like, I don't want to,
I
and I
understand.
got to see, make sure, like, there wasn't a deadline, you know, 'cause sometimes with those
Yeah.
kind of things, there's a certain deadline,
There-
you have to get it done by a certain time.
Okay.
So I just got to, let me do a little bit more research on that, and I'll answer that.
Because we had an issue right after we adopted it, because we were going from, you know, the elections in March, we're moving to November, and then we were having an election, do we make, or an issue of whether we make the terms longer or shorter? And then if we made them longer, we were, you know, it was just an issue. So they had that stipulation in the Local Election Act to where we could do it by ordinance to make us in compliance. So, sorry to
No, you're
raise
good.
all these questions, guys, you know,
That's good.
hopefully one more meeting will get everything straightened out.
Not a problem.
Or maybe Ashley can just get us the info and we can get it straightened up from there, so.
No
Is
worries.
that it? Does anybody else have any questions?
Okay. And then the last one is fairly simple. That's going to be Article 12, Section 3B. We just added their final written recommendations. I think it was a little too broad. I think that's the reason why we gave like their final written recommendations. Let's see, every 10 years, the commission shall appoint a committee to review the effectiveness of this charter and make their final written recommendations to the city commission. So yeah, obviously, this is our first set of recommendations, and then our final will be after we correct all your questions and suggestions. So-
Okay.
And then the last one, amended 25th, April 25th, 2023, just, that'll change. So.
Actually, when you go to do your research, that March 26th of 2019 is when we amended it by ordinance as well. So
Yeah, I saw that.
that,
Yeah.
that might give you some information of where to look on some of that
And I
stuff.
don't remember why.
You said,
It was because of the Local Election Act.
Oh,
you
okay.
said 2019, is that what you said?
Yeah, it says March 26th of 2019.
Okay.
So
So is
Yeah.
this
when we
year?
adopted that, or sometime in March.
That's when, see a senator, Ivy Soto
Yeah,
came.
it was written by Ivy Soto, Daniel Ivy Soto.
Yeah.
That's why it's confusing.
So Commission, that last, where it says amendment, April 25th, 2023, actually, the dates that you see down there where it says amendment, Muni Code actually comes up with the date, so it may not be that date. It's the date that we amended it that we're going to send to them. They're going to take that date off and add that date, so it may not be the date that you see here.
I got you.
Okay.
Sometime in that area, though, around March.
Gives me at least a time frame.
Yeah.
Cool. I think we're good.
Is that it?
That's it for now.
Would you like to just very quickly introduce your charter committee so that we
Oh,
all
by
know
name.
who you are?
I'm gonna have to read it from the email. Usually we have names. Can I have the charter committee stand, please? And we're missing Tim, okay. So I'm gonna have them give their names because we just met like once a week, so. All right. And
Thank you
Ben,
guys for all your hard work.
Thank you.
I happen to know, because I work with one of them, that you guys worked really hard on that, and we really appreciate it, so thank you very much.
Do we need to have them meet one more time, or we
I,
want to wait until the
yeah, I
attorney
was
gives
going to
us
ask.
some info?
So I'll bring this up now. I am going to be out from tomorrow until Tuesday of next week. I'll be back Wednesday. I had a family emergency. I have to fly to Pennsylvania. I know that we are supposed to have a charter review committee this Thursday. I don't know if we can push that to when I get back so that I can help answer some of these questions that the commission had. That'd be to you, Rachel.
So if you want to do a special meeting, that way I can send that notice out. If we do a regular meeting, if we add another one, we're going to have a 10-day notice. A special meeting is a 5-day notice. That works.
And so, I mean, that's something that the committee might want to consider. If you guys want me there, I'm not going to be here at this one, unfortunately. But if you guys want to have a special one, I'll make sure that I'm there so that we can get some of these answers, or these questions answered.
Sure, we'll discuss it in the email. Thank you.
Thank you.
So what do we need to do on this? Do we need to just table
Well,
it till?
Yeah, I think we need to table it, right, until the changes are made, or?
Yes, I mean, you guys can definitely like table this until we get some more of those answers. We can bring this back again to you once we do have some of those answers. And then you guys can go from there, if that's what you guys choose.
You can just vote on it then?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So we're going to table it? Everybody's good? Okay. All right.
Motion to table, don't we?
Yeah.
Yes. So make a motion to
Oh,
table.
yeah, do we have to vote on that?
Yes.
I do
Sorry.
need to make a motion, yes.
I'll make a motion, we table it till, I don't know, we don't need a time frame in there, do we? You guys will just bring it back when it's ready?
We can just do it, table until the next commission meeting.
That'll give us enough time for them to meet and then have or do they even need to meet?
We have a regular meeting scheduled for this Thursday, and then if we do a special one, we can do, if we do a special one as soon when I get back that week, then we would have at least those answers for you by next commission.
We want to table it 2 meetings?
So just for clarification, is the charter meeting to make any changes, or just for the clarification to give to them so they can come back to commission?
Well, I think the charter meeting, because there are some things that the commission would like them to at least look into, especially when it comes to that referendum. So there may be changes made once we do look into that issue a little bit more. And so I think that's what I think we would need to focus on, is that section to see if there is more changes that we would like to recommend based on, the commission's guidance to look into that issue a little bit more.
Okay, so the motion is to
I'll
table
just
it until
table
the
it. We'll
next
just-
meeting?
The next meeting, I don't think it's going to give them enough time.
Rachel, when is it due to the county for the ballot?
Sorry. So my goal is to have it to the county clerk no later than maybe the second, third week in May.
Why do we have to have it there so early? Election's not till November, correct?
So there is a time frame that we have to have it to them by.
Okay. They need it 4 months early?
They need it, I don't have the dates with me.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to push it back, I can, because I still have to bring it back as a resolution so that the commission can adopt it. And then once you adopt it, then I have to send it to them.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just table it till the next meeting, and if they need more time, we can always table it
Can
again.
always table it again. Okay.
That's my motion, table it to the next
So we
meeting.
have a motion from Commissioner Reardon to table this until the next meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A second from Commissioner Melton. And all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
All those opposed, and motion carries 7-0. We're going to move on to item 10, adjourn into executive session in compliance with 10-15-1 H2 NMSA as amended to discuss limited personnel matters, city manager evaluation. Do I have a motion to adjourn into executive session?
I'll let
Mayor?
somebody else make it.
Or do I need to?
Hold, 1 second.
Or did I miss something?
That's what we're trying to confirm.
Carl Melton?
We're good.
Aye.
Nick Paul?
Are we voting to
Do-
adjourn?
Do I need a motion first?
Yes.
My apologies, yes.
Okay. That's okay. I did one tonight too, so now we're even. Okay. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
So into executive session.
Motion from Mayor Pro Tem Wright, a second.
I'll second.
A second from Commissioner Reardon. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Carl Melton?
Aye.
Nick Paul?
Aye.
Stephen Burnett?
Aye.
Josh Reardon?
Aye.
Sharon McDonald?
Aye.
Dusty Wright?
Aye.
Susan Payne?
Aye. And motion passes 7-0, and we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for being here. This way.